Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take complex source material and, well, we boil it down for you, give you the fastest route to getting up to speed. Today, we're looking at a really interesting, very localized energy campaign.
Yeah, the sources we have are focused pretty intensely on this promotional drive for a company called SV Solar Energy. It seems to be spearheaded by an individual, Puducherry Vijayaragavan. And it's not just, a general push for solar. It seems tied to a very specific project, a new industrial unit in Vanur that's in the Viluppuram district of Tamil Nadu, and it's slated for 2025.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here is it's not just a standard business launch or sales pitch. It's this really comprehensive, multi-layered appeal. It brings together quite potent financial incentives. There's talk of national economic strategy, urgent environmental messages, and this is maybe the most unique part, deep cultural and even spiritual endorsement. So for you, the listener, this deep dive really offers a key insight into how these local industrial projects try to get buy-in. They seem to be maximizing every possible angle.
Right. Okay, let's dig into that straight away then. The core message seems to be about money, about financial liberation. They seem to hit one point really hard: adopt solar and you get freedom from electricity bills.
Yes, and that's a powerful angle because it hits, a fundamental pain point for a lot of people. The sources we looked at repeatedly promise users that they will, and this is the phrase, not need to pay electricity bills. The Tamil is you knew by. I can find your Hong Kong bill because of big
but अभी दो को आपको करोगे but Europla Messi है कि बर्फ चालू हो जाए कुने सारा को ये है why am I chalan de what is that
Yeah, my jida kada kini you all top chara kala. So electricity bills, that's a big promise.
It is, but it's deeper than just avoiding a payment. The materials also promise that money will not be wasted.
Yeah.
That way they said कच खम मने रे मैं क्या कुम के भी समझ पाते भाई पार्टी को तो भी को 300 ग्राम को भी कवर करते हैं.
Yeah.
Then the मुझे कहा कि बना कि ये सर हो रहा बेचारा
Pink Koda really taps into that desire for, practical efficiency, maybe self-reliance too.
That idea of avoiding waste, that's very effective. I can see that. The bigger promise, free electricity. We most don't do it fun करेंगे और जा करेंगे
Yeah. I think I can't get free electricity.
That immediately makes me think, well, technically, for most homes connected to the grid, free isn't just about having panels, right? You need storage, like batteries, or it depends heavily on things like net metering policies from the state. Are they getting into that level of detail?
That's a really important clarification, and the sources don't seem to delve that deep into the technical specifics of batteries or net metering rules. Instead, they position the shift as more about regaining, let's say, personal control. They contrast solar directly with, the frustration of depending on the existing power provider. They briefly mention waiting for EB power.
EB power. Oh, right. For listeners outside the region, EB usually stands for the State Electricity Board.
Exactly. And for many people there, that doesn't just mean the utility company. It can represent, bureaucracy, sometimes unreliable service, maybe long waits for connections or repairs.
Okay, so the cell is partly escaping that whole system. The friction, the potential issues with the grid provider.
Precisely. The main drive seems centered on maximizing that means helping to increase self-electricity generation.
Self-generation.
Yeah, simply by using natural power. So it's very much a self-sufficiency story they're telling. The technology isn't just a gadget. It's framed as a tool for achieving autonomy.
Okay, so if the why is freeing yourself financially and maybe administratively, we need the how. Who exactly is driving this? Who's behind it, and where's the actual hub?
Well, the sources point clearly to one key proponent, Puducherry Vijayaragavan. The phrase used is, you must see, you kind of call on variation. You must, I came onto the happy shames. They find that he is describing them.
He is the face of it then.
Seems so. And the grounding detail, the really concrete part, is that new manufacturing base. The new industry unit planned for Vanur in Viluppuram district, Tamil Nadu, kicking off in 2025. Having that specific place and date makes it feel much more real than just, abstract marketing. It signals tangible local investment.
But that brings up the big hurdle, right? Solar still costs a fair bit up front. How do they get people over that initial investment barrier? Is there a specific hard financial incentive being offered, like the main carrot?
Yes, there is. And it seems to be the absolute transactional heart of this whole campaign. The sources make a very specific claim. Users are told they can receive a government subsidy of 78,000 rupees.
78,000 rupees.
That's the number highlighted. It's
Right.
73rd subsidy. It's on game, you climb more. You can get this government subsidy. And this specific amount seems to anchor their whole promise of a new path to get to getting these benefits.
Okay, 78,000 rupees. So we should probably put that in context for listeners. I mean, what does that actually mean for a typical home solar setup cost? Is that a small discount or is it like really significant?
Well, our analysis suggests it's pretty critical. It seems to significantly change the whole economic calculation for a potential buyer. For a standard sort of household system, maybe let's say a 2 kilowatt installation, something designed to really cut down your major bills.
Right.
That 78,000 rupee incentive could realistically cover maybe 30%, perhaps even up to 40% of the initial cost.
Wow. Okay, that's substantial.
It is. And that kind of reduction fundamentally changes the payback period, right? It makes that promise of free electricity seem achievable much, much sooner than if you had to pay the full price yourself. So the subsidy is basically the government partnering up with the consumer, helping to make that liberation actually affordable.
Right, that makes sense. Now, this is where, for me, it gets really fascinating because the pitch seems to go way beyond just helping individual households save money or even just that state subsidy. SV Solar sounds like they're not just marketing a product. It feels like they're campaigning for something bigger, like a national or ecological shift. What are those macro goals mentioned?
Yeah, the narrative definitely elevates pretty quickly. It frames adopting solar as almost a civic duty, and an ecological one too. On the environmental side, the call seems to be twofold. There's an imperative to protect the environment, the phrase is protect
the environment,
and also to preserve natural wealth, planting intellectual.
Yeah.
So it frames every single solar installation as contributing to, national preservation.
And this conservation message, it's tied directly to national benefit too, isn't it? Connecting individual choices to the bigger economic picture.
Absolutely. The sources draw a very clear, explicit line between people choosing solar locally and the country's macroeconomics. Using solar is actively presented as a way to help boost India's economy. The phrase is Bokar and Killed by Bunga.
Okay.
So it transforms what might seem like a personal consumer decision into something more like an act of patriotic investment.
That implies incredible scale, though. To actually boost the national economy significantly, this tech can't just be on city rooftops. Where else are they suggesting it should be adopted? Does it mention other sectors?
Yes, it does, and this is important. The material specifically targets the agricultural sector. There's a very direct call encouraging all farmers. So when you the right can be on a bean instead. To use solar panels, the Pintiana fields, where it's like, know how you're...
Farmers. That makes sense.
It's a critical detail because it immediately broadens the picture, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about lights and homes anymore. It expands the potential use to vital agricultural needs, like maybe powering irrigation pumps.
Which would be huge for farmers dealing with unreliable grid power, especially for irrigation.
Exactly. For them, self-generation isn't just about saving costs. It could potentially be about saving their crops. It links back to that self-sufficiency narrative again.
Right. Targeting farmers plays right into the subsidy and the self-reliance message. Okay, but let's talk about the company itself for a second. SV Energy. The ambition level in these promotional materials sounds, well, almost global. It's quite aspirational.
Oh, it's massive. The vision they articulate is huge. The hope expressed is that the SV Energy Company will spread all over the world. That's and ultimately provide light to the whole world. So they're positioning this new local industrial unit in Vanur as potentially the start of a global, maybe even humanitarian energy solution.
That level of ambition is something else. And it brings us to what you flagged earlier as maybe the most unique part of this whole campaign. This deep blend of technology, business, and, well, spirituality. The promotion doesn't just end with a business summary, does it? It finishes with blessings.
Yes, and this is Truly fascinating to see laid out so explicitly. In this cultural context, blending business with faith like this can be an incredibly powerful tool. It's used to build trust, maybe imply longevity, reliability.
So it's not just about technical success or financial success.
No, they seem to be actively seeking success through what you might call a spiritual mandate as well.
What specifically do they invoke? Which blessings or deities?
There's a very deliberate, quite comprehensive list. They invoke various deities and divine powers to support the project.
Yeah.
Things like protecting the environment, ensuring the company itself flourishes. It includes repeated calls of Sakti, Adipara Sakti, Vinayaka, and Kamakshi.
Wow, those are significant names.
Very significant, powerful, regionally important figures, yes. And invoking major divine powers like these, it's definitely more than just a cultural decoration. It's a profound statement about the ethical grounding of the business, maybe a perceived guarantee of its success.
So they're basically saying the venture is blessed.
In essence, yes. Therefore, it's trustworthy, it's going to last, it's operating under some kind of higher protection. It's like the ultimate form of endorsement. They explicitly state a desire that the company receives the help of the almighty power. The Tamil is and may the almighty power help with all this.
Exactly. It effectively sanctifies the business plan itself. It's quite remarkable. It really does seem to maximize every possible appeal. Mm-hmm. Emotional, logistical, financial, spiritual, for their target audience. So, okay, let's try to synthesize this. What does this all mean for you, the listener? Trying to understand how the energy scene might be changing, at least in this specific region. We've seen a solar push that's anchored by a pretty significant, very tangible government subsidy. The 78,000 rupees making the investment much more attractive up front. We have specific commercial plans that Venner unit aiming to be operational by 2025. And then there's this incredibly comprehensive appeal covering everything from personal savings and getting off the grid.
Right, to boosting the national economy, protecting the environment, and wrapping it all up with deep cultural and spiritual legitimacy. I think this deep dive really shows us that local industrial promotion, when it's done effectively, can be truly holistic. It's strategically weaving together the tech solar power with clear money incentives, that strong story about freedom from the grid, and then adding this deep cultural layer, invoking blessings. They aren't just selling kilowatt hours here. They're selling autonomy, alignment with nature, and maybe even alignment with the divine.
It's an incredibly potent mix, a powerful mission statement. But it does leave us with a final thought, maybe a provocative question for you to consider. Given this overwhelming emphasis on self-sufficiency, on cutting ties with existing electricity bills, how effectively can a campaign like this, one that's so localized, so reliant on specific, perhaps time-limited government subsidies, and deeply embedded in local cultural appeals, how effectively can it truly compete with, and maybe eventually even supersede, the sheer scale and established infrastructure of a major regional power grid?
Yeah, the competition isn't just about technology or price per unit of energy. It's also a battle against decades of established logistics, supply chains, centralized control, and governance.
Something to definitely think about as you watch this particular localized energy story unfold.
Come and join SP Energy, Villupuram and Pondicherry. Thank you.